Today, we're diving into a threat to our modern world. It's invisible, it's powerful, and it starts millions and millions of miles away.
I know. Sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but this is a totally real scenario. Think about it. We rely on electricity for, well, everything. But what if the very star that gives us life also holds a hidden danger for the network that powers our entire world?
All right, so let's get right into it. To really get a handle on this threat, you have to understand where it comes from. Our own sun. And believe me, it is not the calm, steady ball of fire you might imagine.
So, the sun actually has this rhythm, this pulse. It works on a roughly 11-year cycle. It swings from a really quiet period, called the solar minimum, all the way up to a peak of crazy activity, the solar maximum, which we actually just hit in 2025. But here's the kicker, and this is the really interesting part. You'd think the peak itself would be the most dangerous time, right? Wrong. Statistically, the biggest, baddest solar storms often hit in the 2 or 3 years after the maximum. And that means, folks, we are heading into a high-risk window as we speak. Okay, so a storm erupts on the sun. Big deal, right? It's 93 million miles away. How on earth does that cause a problem down here? Well, it all boils down to this really wild phenomenon that directly links the chaos of space to the power lines running down your street. The main culprit here has a fancy name: geomagnetically induced currents, or GICs for short. Put simply, when a solar storm comes and messes with Earth's magnetic shield, it actually creates rogue electrical currents right here on the planet's surface. And these currents, they're looking for a path of least resistance, a nice long conductor to travel through. And can you guess what one of the longest, most conductive things we've built is? Yep, the power grid. Let's walk through this step by step. First, a massive solar storm erupts from the sun, shooting a wave of energy and plasma our way. That wave then slams into Earth's magnetic field, our planet's protective shield, and makes it shake and wobble like crazy. That magnetic disturbance then induces a powerful electric field right here in the ground beneath our feet. And finally, that electric field is what pushes those nasty GICs to flow right into our power grids, which have no idea what's coming.
So now we know what GICs are. But, so what? What do they actually do? I mean, why is a little extra current such a huge deal for a system that's already handling gigantic amounts of power every single day?
What you're looking at here is the very heart of our electrical world. It's an incredibly complex, finely tuned system. These high-voltage networks, they're the absolute backbone of our modern society. But the paradox is, their very design, what makes them so efficient, is also what makes them so vulnerable.
The real secret here, the key to the whole problem, is frequency. See, our power grid is built for one thing: high-frequency alternating current, or AC, usually 50 or 60 hertz. But GICs are totally different. They're basically a form of direct current, or DC, and they operate at this super low frequency. Pumping that kind of alien, slow-moving current into a system designed for a high-speed AC, well, it's kind of like trying to run a Formula One car on molasses. It just gums up the works.
And the consequences? They can be really severe. This unwanted current can make massive transformers overheat, saturate, and just fail. But here's the really scary part: the recovery time. These giant transformers aren't something you can just buy at the store. We're talking custom-built machines that can take months, sometimes even years, to manufacture and replace. Imagine a widespread event taking out dozens of them. We could be looking at incredibly long-lasting power outages.
Now, this isn't just some abstract theoretical problem, not at all. Grid operators are on this, and they're actively working to defend against it. So let's take a look at a fantastic case study from Queensland, Australia, to see how people are tackling this on the ground.
This is PowerLink Queensland, and these folks are right on the front lines. They're out there developing and deploying systems specifically to watch their network for any of the telltale signs of these GICs. They basically said, we can't just sit around and wait for a big storm to hit us. We need to be able to see this stuff happening in real time.
So, how do you actually build a GIC detector? Well, here's the checklist that PowerLink came up with. They knew they needed to measure that DC current flowing through their transformers with really high accuracy. They needed fresh data fast, every 4 seconds. And, absolutely crucial, they needed an alarm system that would go off when GIC levels got too high. The goal was something simple, cheap, and effective that they could roll out across their whole network. It's just a perfect example of smart, practical, defensive engineering.
And here is the payoff. On September 8, 2017, their system caught a real GIC event live in the act.
This was the smoking gun. This wasn't a computer model, it wasn't a prediction, it was cold, hard data showing exactly how a solar storm was impacting their gear. It proved two things. One, the threat is absolutely real, and two, their monitoring system actually worked.
But PowerLink isn't working in a vacuum. This is a global challenge, and you've got grid operators all over the world who are taking this very, very seriously. So let's zoom out from Australia and take a look at how another country is getting ready for the storm.
I love this quote from Great Britain's National Energy System Operator. It just perfectly captures the right mindset. They understand that their job is to protect the whole system from a huge range of threats. Doesn't matter if it's a blizzard on the ground or a solar storm coming from 93 million miles away.
And they're not just talking the talk, they have a concrete plan. They've built out a specific protocol for how to handle space weather events. They make power generators report in on their status before a storm hits. And they even run these massive, industry-wide drills called exercise solar surge. The goal here is simple. Make the entire energy sector stronger and more resilient by working together before disaster strikes.
So what does all of this mean for the future of our grid? Well, as we keep moving forward, the choices we're making right now are literally going to decide how well our power grid holds up against the next big one. You know, we're basically standing at a fork in the road. Down one path, you have a vulnerable grid. It's unmonitored, it's reactive, and it's at risk of these long, painful outages. Down the other path, a resilient grid, one that's proactively monitored, that has clear plans in place, and that's built to withstand these cosmic threats. And the work being done in places like Queensland and Great Britain, that's what's pushing us down that better, more resilient path.
And that really brings us to the final and maybe most important question. Our world is becoming more and more electrified every single day. Think about it. Electric cars, massive data centers, everything is plugging in. The demand on our grid is just getting more and more intense. We know for a fact that these storms will come. That's not a question. The only question is, will we be ready when the next perfect storm arrives?